was the Director of Public Safety. This is the language before this revision, is hereby declared to be a conservator of the peace. Where is it written what roles and responsibility this Director of Public Safety appointment is? Or where is it written the roles and responsibility of a conservator of the peace, whether they're law enforcement person or not? I don't see that explained.
Conservator of the peace is covered by state statute as well as law enforcement.
Okay, because I don't know this state statute by heart. If somebody could give me and the residents a verbal explanation, I greatly appreciate it.
Yes, the ordinance that's proposed, it's amending what was a current ordinance that was on the books, placed back in 1983, I believe, and it established a Department of Public Safety. I know we talk about the police department and the fire department. However, it's the Department of Public Safety. Underneath the Department of Public Safety, you have the Division of Police and the Division of Fire. This came about when we were doing research. The way the ordinance reads as it stands now.
Can we hear how it was before and then how it changed?
What it was before, if you look at the ordinance that's in front of you, everything that's underlined is to be added. That which is stricken has a line out is what it was. So the ordinance as it is now states there is hereby established a Department of Public Safety. The department shall consist of the Division of Police and the Division of Fire. The manager shall serve as the Director of Public Safety until this position is filled by appointment. The Director of Public Safety is hereby declared to be a conservator of the peace. That's how the ordinance currently is.
And so state statute says, I'm sorry. State statute states that the Director of Public Safety is somebody, a what of the police department or what of the fire department?
This isn't state statute. This is University Park. This is in their codified ordinances. This is a village ordinance. This is not state statute.
Okay, so my original question was, does the Director of Public Safety or the conservator of the peace have to be somebody in the police department or somebody in the fire department? Or can it be a regular resident, or does it have to have a background? Who can that person be?
The way the ordinance currently stands?
The way it's currently written, yes.
The way it currently stands, it could be a civilian.
Okay.
That is correct. And in researching into this, a conservator of the peace is not necessarily a certified sworn police officer.
And I was going to say, attorney, the new way is going to run if the manager is a sworn law enforcement officer certified by the Illinois Law Enforcement Training and Standard Board. The manager shall have direct operation and command over both divisions. We do not need that. We have a village manager, we have a fire chief, we have a police chief. Let me finish. You're going to be over, so then you just answered the question for everyone. We don't even need to touch this. Because we all agreed of you being a village manager. The word interim is not going to kill anybody. And when it comes down to this, we do not need to touch the public. It's just not a concern right now. And that's my argument, Madam Mayor. We do not need to touch the ordinance. We're modifying it so someone can be able to keep their badge. And that is not the purpose of this ordinance. We should not change it. If you're the chief of police, you're the chief of police until we say different. You will be okay. I'm not going to go down to, I'm not going to turn it in to say he's not a police officer no more if he becomes our village manager. So we don't have to modify this, and that's what my argument is in debate tonight, ma'am.
Yes, Madam Mayor, I spoke briefly about this earlier, and I didn't make my statement exactly plain, but if you have a director of public safety, maybe there is no need for a police chief and a fire chief. It's all filled by the director of public safety, who's now in charge of both divisions.
See, ma'am, I worked as a police officer for almost 2 decades. Every police department, every town has a chief of police, and they have a fire chief. Now, well, those towns that have and chief paid, yes, you've left out Country Club Hills. Chief Brown, who made sure my retirement was great. For being injured in the line of duty, you still have a police chief, you still have a fire chief, everybody is there. So Oscar Brown, no, we're not saving dollars because that's where you're going. We do not have to change the structure of this department or this village over ordinance. This is unnecessary. You don't have to change it.
I would just say, it's trustee Brown, yes. I just
Madam Mayor, may I be recognized?
Yes, sir. I was waiting for the clerk to say something.
And give me 1 second. First, just to be very clear, the amendment, and I think Attorney Wise will go back to our conversation, was to strengthen the ordinance because the way it's written now, if I was to leave from 2 years from now, anybody can come in and say they're the director of public safety because how it's written, it says the village manager is the director of public safety until somebody's properly appointed. That is detrimental to the police department, fire department. If you have somebody coming in and they're reading the ordinances and they interpret it in that manner, and they come in and try to control the police and fire department. Now the thing is, I know what my intent was. When the attorney brought it up and said it was a current ordinance, I said, what is their opinion on it? What year was it done in 1983? I said, how many, do we even have the conservator of the peace anymore? And because I know the Illinois Law Enforcement Training Standards Board says in order to be a conservator of peace, at this point, you have to be a certified law enforcement officer. Okay? So it stated that. So de facto, if the board does not pass this, I still will be the director of public safety based on how the ordinance is written. The only reason the change was implemented was to protect the police department and protect the fire department because I did not know the ordinance existed until Attorney Wise contacted me and said it existed, and we wanted to strengthen the language just in case somebody else came in. So this is not to hold a double role. And I don't have an issue being the chief of police and village manager. I saw a gap in our decades-old ordinance that somebody can interpret improperly and felt a change should be done, which I expect as the interim village manager, I'm expected to protect the village from potential liability. So just to be respectfully recognized, I understand your intent, sir, but that is not the case. And Attorney Wise can interject on that, and based on the conversation that occurred.
And when it came up on the agenda items, it was our clerk even said, you know, we have this on the agenda already. We have this ordinance in place.
Okay, sir. You need clarification, because you just told me one thing, and Chief Pace just says, state statute says something totally different. My original question was, I'm sorry.
My original question was, it states, the manager shall serve as the director of public safety until his position is filled by appointment. The director of public safety is hereby declared to be a conservator of the peace. My question was, what does that mean? You said this is our ordinance. It could be a resident. It could be a member of the community. That's why I asked that. Because if a member of the community can do that, I think a member of the community should. Now, Chief Pate just said by Illinois police something or another, that the conservator of the peace must be what?
A certified police officer.
So I need clarification.
When the ordinance was passed, the term conservator of the peace has changed over the years, if I understand. Well, this ordinance was passed in
It was
1983.
passed in 83, so just,
Right.
you'll interpret that as
Yeah.
83 or 2017?
Okay, it was passed in 83. As far as I can see, it's not been amended since that time. The conservator of the peace under the statutes used to be, I think, it was a civilian designation. That has changed over the course of time. Under this ordinance, there is nothing further about the duties and responsibilities of a director of public safety. This ordinance stood on its own, and then you had the divisions of police and fire underneath of that. What we've done to try to strengthen the ordinance is to have it, if the manager is a sworn law enforcement officer, then they shall have direct operational command and control over both divisions. So if you're not a sworn, if the next manager is not a sworn law enforcement officer, they won't have direct operational command and control over both divisions, which would be fire and police.
What would they have?
What would they have?
If they're not a sworn officer,
Mhm.
the director of public safety will be what? It says declared to be a conservator of the peace.
Correct.
What would they have control
In that case, in this situation, if the manager is a sworn law enforcement officer, certified as stated in the proposed amendment, they would have operational command and control. Operational command and control, therefore, you would not need a chief of police, chief of fire. The director of public safety would have the command and control. As compared to if you're not a sworn manager, yes, this person would be declared to be a conservator of the peace. In that case, you would still need a chief of police and a fire chief to exercise and utilize operational command and control over each of the divisions.
So why we don't have in here, we have in reference to Illinois law enforcement training standards. What about those firefighter certifications? Why we didn't add that in there?
Because the ordinance stated conservator of the peace, and the only authority that has authorization to designate somebody as conservator of the peace is the Illinois Law Enforcement Training Standards.
So
That's the reason it
restricted
was
it
changed.
for what?
Because if somebody else comes into the position, they can interpret it differently. And I saw it as a liability situation for both Division of Police and Division of Fire. And in January, just to be very clear, I met with both the fire department and the police department today, and there will be other updates done throughout various codes because there are a lot of conflicts in our ordinances because of the age of them. There has conflicting information. The only
Conflicts like
reason-
what?
Sir,
I wanted to say,
go ahead, Mayor.
I want to say at this time too, that it would not eliminate the fact that we cannot have our fire chief. We will still have a fire chief, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. And we would keep that, and he would be still promote him to a fire chief.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I get it, I understand it if Chief Pate is Chief Pate, Police Chief and Active Village Manager, and Village Manager. What I'm not getting is what happens when somebody else comes in. I'm
They
still,
can't hold the role. They can't hold the role because
and they can't,
They cannot hold the role because number one, cannot be a conservator of the peace because they're not a sworn law enforcement officer. So that changes it where if somebody else comes in, they cannot hold the role of director of public safety, period. Go ahead. Unless they're a sworn law enforcement officer. So there was a reason for the change. So this is not a special change to me, and I say again, if the board does not pass this, the way the ordinance is written, if made village manager tonight, I still would be the director of public safety de facto. So,
right,
again.
okay, that's not my question.
No, I'm saying that,
What
trustee.
happens when somebody who's not law enforcement, then which one of you will be the conservator of the peace? They just randomly pick one, they appoint one of you,
So no one can be opposed.
the police chief or the fire chief is what he just said, becomes a conservator of the peace.
The way the ordinance is written now.
Okay.
So, okay.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Left the ordinance out of compliance.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Trustee Brown, did you want to say something?
Actually, never mind.
Okay. All right. Roll call?
Trustee Williams. Trustee Wilson.
Abstain.
Trustee Brooks.
Votes no.
Trustee McMullen.
Votes aye.
Trustee Payton.
Aye.
Trustee Brown.
Aye.
And Mayor Tucker.
Aye.
Motion carries, Madam Mayor. That's ordinance 2017-28.
First, second, and third reading ordinance of the Village of University Parkville and Cook Counties, Illinois, appointing John E. Pate as village manager. Is there a motion? Moved by trustee McClellan, second.
Second.
By trustee Payton. The second. Then comments, concerns?
Madam Mayor,
Yes, sir.
again, coming out of executive session and reading this, we were taking a different consensus. I just ask that this goes into executive session, not tonight, but on the new calendar year. We already made our mind up on what we were going to do. What happened is that it was put on the agenda before time, because I know I didn't disclose anything to Chief Pate for it to be on the agenda tonight, and I know you didn't, to be village manager. We didn't disclose that to him. You talked to him, it was supposed to be about something else, but it wasn't supposed to be on the agenda.
No, we did talk about consensus and we did agree.
So I believe that what we were going to talk about, right, I believe that we should do that in executive session. Finish what we were discussing in executive session, just out of respect. Table it until executive session, that's all I'm asking. Not asking to be, yeah, that's all, just asking that we do it until, we table this until we finish talking out of executive session. Not tonight, though.
Well, this is the last meeting of the month, and
Correct.
we have something done.
He is still the village manager, Mayor. Listen to my motion.
I hear it. Oh, it's okay, is there a second?
Madam Mayor, I would recommend, because since the treasury report is not done, that if this does pass, that we would do it at the same time when we come back for the treasurer's report. Yes,
I
ma'am.
move to, you make that motion?
No, I'm not making a motion, and I'm not seconding. However, if a motion to table passes, because that ends discussion, then perhaps we should have the executive session at the same time we will have the meeting for the treasury report, because so my understanding has yet to be prepared. And it also has to be approved before the end.
Comments,
Just a
because
second.
So,
Hold on.
comments.
Okay. Yes, he did, he made a second. Is there a second? Table.
I'm sorry, who made the motion?
Trustee Brooks? Table. A second? Okay. Is there a motion first? Well, it's already been out, motion. The roll call.
now you recognize Mayor Miller.
Yes, you may.
Okay. So since there's some concerns with the treasurer's report, well, first my comments, and then I'll make a motion. So, I'm giving a presidential speech today. When I ran on transparency, and I know a lot of people think they don't see it. And I will not go on next door and talk village business. I've opened up to pick up the phone and call me at any time. I'll give you my opinion. My opinion today is this village has had major troubles with tips. I admire Chief Pate. I think as far as I know about police business, it's not much. It appears that he's doing a great job as being a police chief. With the problems we've had in this village with our TIF deficits, the TIF problems, illegal spending of TIF monies, I personally would prefer to have a village manager who is experienced as it relates to TIFs. We met with a developer, the board had a special meeting, we met with a developer, and we're talking about opening a new TIF district. If this board was experienced enough with TIFs, I have no doubt in my mind that Chief Pate will be an excellent village manager. This board is not, or has not shown experience with TIFs. Therefore, we are in a big TIF deficit. Again, I've talked to Chief Pate, told him how I feel. I think he could be extremely successful at anything he does. Yes, he is an excellent manager of people. Yes, he is an excellent manager of projects. Would he be an excellent village manager? I think one day, as soon as he gets some experience under his belt. With this new interstate exchange and all these developers coming to University Park, and we have people discussing new TIF districts, extending old TIF districts, I personally think we should have a village manager who is experienced with TIFs. Yes, we have one of the best TIF attorneys at our table, but a village manager should, in my opinion, a village manager should also be experienced with TIFs. Yes, they guide the board who are not TIF experts. And if, in my opinion, if he is not experienced in TIF, we are not experienced in TIFs, I think we might have a problem. Now, if we don't, I'm glad, but I just want to bring to the board and to the residents a different mindset. To me, police chiefs specifically, police officers have a different mindset than regular people. They take tests to weed out, to get the cream of their crop. An average Joe Blow or average Paula Wilson probably can't pass that police test, the mental part. Different jobs have different mindsets. And if you aren't born with that mindset, either you can learn it or you're going to struggle being successful at it. I do not think we should have a village manager learning on the go. If we had no problems, I think he would be excellent. He puts his heart and 100% in everything he does. But right now, I think this village needs an experienced TIF village manager. Now, everybody brought up, yes, we did have 19 applicants. Yes, we did review them. And the top, there were some discrepancies about 4 or 5. And some of them, all 3 people on the committee picked. The other ones got there because 2 people selected them. It ended up being 4. My personal opinion, I went through the criteria that was on our ad. It was 2 specific things. A degree in, I didn't bring it to you. A degree specifically in public administration. It also stated that they needed to have so many years of experience. 5 years of experience as a village manager. With our village up and growing, moving forward, because we are moving forward, and with so many TIF opportunities, I just don't think we should put ourselves at risk with somebody who has no TIF experience. Yes, we look bad because we keep changing village managers, but we should have thought about that several village managers ago. And majority rules, I just wanted to state it for the record, Paula Wilson's personal opinion. Because I think everybody else up here, with the exception of Trustee Liz Williams, has already stated their personal opinion during public comments. So I just wanted to state for the record my personal opinion on what we should be doing with the village manager. Okay?
Yeah, Mayor, thanks.
I'd like to make a motion to move this to first and second readings and third reading happen after the treasurer's report is done.
We don't have trustee.
Well, first of all, I appreciate your comments, but it was the consensus of the board after careful deliberation. And let me tell you, we spent a good part of Thanksgiving weekend, the holiday, going through all of the resumes.
No. Trustee Wilson was making a motion to amend this to first and second.
So moved.
No, Trustee Wilson was making a motion.
Okay, and now discussion.
Right. So, Trustee Wilson is concerned about the lack of background that Chief Pate maybe didn't have before regarding the tips. He is quite knowledgeable about the tips at this time. In addition to that, we are using IRH developments, and James Roach, who is probably one of the foremost TIF attorneys in the state. We are using also CanCar and some other attorneys to advise us. Anybody that you get is going to be short on something, all right? So we've got a TIF proposal from one developer who wants to do some substantial development for the village. And our attorneys and IRH Development and the manager has also proposed a committee of board members, a subcommittee of board members, or a board member to assist in that effort also. And I'll volunteer for that if it should come to fruition. Similar to what we did with the TIF issues for Clorox, which we have not announced the results of that. One of the main things that a community, that people move into a community is for the safety. The safety is one of the big issues. The school system and the recreational opportunities for the kids. And while, Chief Pate obviously doesn't have control over the school system, he has been working diligently to try to get something for our children. And obviously, as we have seen as a board, and Trustee Wilson has also acknowledged that he is an excellent police chief, and the village is moving in the right direction. We need more resources behind our police department, but based upon the comparison for the way things used to be and the way they are now, there's a whole lot more accountability and fairness in our police department. Just so you know, Chief Pate, and this came up also, one of the people whose resume we reviewed, that Trustee Wilson is claiming that Chief Pate doesn't have the background, that you needed to have so many years of municipal service. One of the people that she selected had no municipal background, but yet she's criticizing Chief Pate for that. He's got 2 master's degrees, real master's degrees. Now, the 2 previous village managers, Bola Delano and Amaya Enye, had no municipal background, whatever. Okay? So, the only thing I'm looking for is some fairness. Let's do what's right. This man has actually been doing the job and doing an excellent job. There are so many things. Please.
What's the 2 master's degrees?
Trustee Payton.
You said.
This is not a debate here, Star Lawson. Please, a little respect.
Excuse me, sir. No, you cannot speak. You see, that's disrespectful.
For real?
Right.
You just bust me out.
Well, you criticize the chief based upon the criteria that you claimed, which was in the ad. And so I think for the sake of transparency, I think the community needs to know that there may not be a lot of objectivity there. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Okay? The man has been doing this job for us. The complexity of what has been going on here is just mind-boggling. We have been in such a deep hole. The garbage that has come out of the woodwork that this man is handling right now is just unbelievable. And I spent almost 25 years in corporate life with a Fortune 50 corporation. Worked with a lot of executives. I was an executive myself. And I'm telling you, this man's got executive talent. We are lucky to have him working for this village, even if it's just till 2019. So, my thing is that we ought to just go ahead and move forward and support this Chief Pate and have him as our village manager.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Just so everyone's clear, currently the motion is Trustee Wilson's motion to amend this to just first and second readings, which was seconded by Trustee Brooks.
Can we hear from
Is
some of
there
the other
the road?
trustees, please?
Trustees, you want a roll call?
First and second.
I said, first and second, I said roll call.
Trustee Williams.
Wait.
Yes, sir.
This is on the amendment? I had a question on the amendment.
Okay,
In regards, if we were to pass this amendment and then we didn't pass the third reading until, say January or first week of December, when would the first 1,800 become, would not be due until January?
Trustee Brown, I think the motion was to bring it when you bring back the treasurer's report.
right, which will be the cost of a special meeting.
Yeah, that'll be at a special meeting, which wouldn't be at this one. So if we were to say, hey, look, when we first and second reading out, the first $1,800 payment would be due until January?
Correct. If he was not appointed tonight, he would still be the interim village manager and be receiving the compensation he received as interim village manager, not what he would be receiving under his bonus.
Answer anyone's question? Anybody else? Okay, roll call on the amendment.
Trustee Williams. Trustee Wilson.
Aye.
Trustee Brooks.
Both sides.
Trustee McMullen.
Nay.
Trustee Payton.
Nay.
Trustee Brown. Mayor Covington.
Okay.
That motion failed.
First, second, third reading, ordinance.
It's already been on there.
Now we need a roll call.
Roll call on that. Make the original motion, first, second, third reading, ordinance goes to Will County and appointing John Payne as goes to.
Excuse me. That's it, that's the original.
Okay.
Just one question, attorney. This inside, this, Chief Pate would be, because he's asking to be the director, he has it in here, serve as the director of public safety. So that means that indeed, we still will have a fire chief, a deputy fire chief, chief of police, deputy chief of police,
Yes.
and the village manager, so he'll be serving 3 roles,
No,
or just
no.
one.
No, just one. We will have a fire chief.
And we will,
Fire chief.
And Madam Mayor, just for clarity,
Yes.
the deputy police chief positions were removed.
They sure were years ago. We don't have deputy.
well, I guess I can ask,
Well,
chief, will we be bringing it back,
No.
the deputy chief
So
position?
just to be for clarification, the ordinance that was passed for deputy chief only suspended the position for 2 years. It's actually, 2 years has elapsed, so the deputy chief position
Is back.
Is back.
And so I can ask you that you will, that those positions that I just mentioned, because I do feel, you know my concern, being a public safety officer
Yes.
over the years, you will make sure this town is taken care of, because
Yes,
I'm gonna
it's my
say this, I'm gonna say